So up until this time, some of you have had faith in Jesus Christ, but you've been like precocious children. Your faith has been partially blind and accepting, yet interwoven with much doubt. Therefore, whatever you needed to be done for you, you depended on Jesus for the work to be accomplished. Whereas, in fact, much of what you believe you have derived directly from Jesus has actually been your own faith in Jesus, made visible in the form of things asked for. So when I was younger, there was several, what people might consider miraculous things that happened, but I would pray for things and they would happen. And they would be things that's like, what? How is that even possible to happen? But they would happen. And when I realized and I looked back, it was because there was complete belief. I did not doubt for 1 second that what I was praying for was going to happen. I believed it. And because I believed it, it's what happened. It was not because I was praying to Jesus, God, whoever it was that I was praying to at the time. I would have probably said, Dear Jesus, because that's how I always started all my prayers. So it's not because I was praying to Jesus. It was because I had faith in what I was praying for, and it was my faith in Jesus praying like, hey, well, I believe this dude's going to do the thing that he said he was going to do because it says it right here, and I had no reason to doubt it. And so because I believed, that was how I would get the results. But how many times in your life have you thought, okay, I'm going to pray for something, and then you pray for something, and maybe you continuously pray for it? This is proving in itself that you have doubt, because if you pray one time and you're like, well, no, I pray with total faith, you don't need to pray 100 times. You don't got to keep praying the same prayer, because if you actually had faith, which is how you'll actually get that thing, which is how you'll actually get the results that you want, you only got to do it the one time. And it's because if you had some doubt in there, of like, okay, well, I prayed, but maybe God was busy, or maybe he was doing a thing, or maybe he didn't know that I really wanted it. So maybe he's not really going to give it to me. Maybe I need to keep praying and asking all the time, so that he'll make time and he'll hear me. That's all that is, really is a lack of faith. This is why, it says in the Bible, does it say it in the Christ letters? I can't even recall, but it's talking about you have to have faith like a child. Well, I did, because I was a child. And so I had faith like a child, like, well, no, you told me that, where a couple of us come together, if we pray and we ask for the thing, and that was one time, but typically it was just me praying, by myself. Sometimes it would be my sisters being like, hey, can you pray for this thing? Because when you pray it works. I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, what is it that we need? Okay, yeah, done, it's done. And I would pray in this way. And because that occurred as a child, I then had, proof, like obviously when we pray, the things happen. And so it stuck with me that I knew that, prayers are answered. But I didn't understand it on the level that I understand it until the past few years. That it was like, okay, well, what was really occurring there? When I would pray for something, I'd be like, Dear Jesus, please, make the wind stop, or please help me to find this thing, or please, start this motorcycle that won't start, or, whatever it happened to be. I'd be praying about the things, and I honestly believed it was because people would tell me all this time, oh, well, God just really loves you. And that just makes me... I think about those people, and then they believed that they couldn't get the same results from prayer because they didn't. But they didn't, not because they were loved less, but because they didn't believe that their prayers would be answered. They didn't believe it, and so they weren't, right? Because all that you manifest is the beliefs that you have. That's what's made visible in your life, is the things that you believe in. This is why it's so detrimental if somebody doesn't, believe that they're lovable or worthy. because those beliefs will play out in so many areas of their life, right? If you're playing that vibration, and that vibration's being emitted from you, it's going to pull in situations, people, places, things, all the things that match up to that vibration, to that belief that you have. So think of every belief that you have as a vibration. And so let's say that you have total faith and belief that in the divine love. And let me tell you about the divine love. It's perfect. There's nothing that it can't do. This is what Jesus was preaching about when he was healing the people. He would talk about the divine love. He would say, okay, now look, this love is so perfect. It's everywhere and it's in everything. And it's because he knew it so well, just like I know it so very well. And he would talk about things like, let's say, how every animal is so cared for and equipped with everything that they need, like every attention to detail, right? Even you too, right? You've got eyelids and eyelashes for comfort. Animals that are prone to flies, they've got long tails to help get rid of the flies. Their feet are protected. Humans got all their pieces and parts all neatly tucked away. He would go on and on and on and on, telling people about the love that's just like in the little things. He would talk about the sheep and saying, look, these dudes, all they eat is grass all day long. But yet somehow that grass magically turns into bone, blood, flesh, teeth, eyeballs, guts, hoof, nail, lanolin, produces offspring, and then milk, sustenance for their offspring. Like, this in itself is a marvel of creation. It is a product of divine love. And because, this is back in the day, and so he's telling the dudes, he's given an example from nature because that's all that he had to do. He would talk about this, he would preach about it, and then he would show them the proof by then healing them. This was the only reason he did it. He wasn't like, look, I'm the man, poof, look, I just healed the dude, I did the thing, look, the guy can walk now, and he couldn't. That's not why he did it. The reason he did it, and the only reason why he could do what he was doing, was because it was not self-serving, but it was to prove the love that he had experienced. And he was like, oh, I just wish that they could get it, I wish that they could understand it. And so he would prove these things to people through healing. But the only reason that he did it was not because he believed in himself. He wasn't like, I believe in Jesus Christ myself. No, he didn't. He didn't do this. And so you don't need to do this. It is about the love. It is about the message that he was preaching. And so he would tell people about the love, and then he would prove it to them, and then he would tell them, like, dudes, look, what you just witnessed here was divine love in action. This is what it can do. And so if you would only believe in that, your lives will be miraculous. But when he was healing people, did he have any doubt? No, he didn't. He wasn't like, I wonder if God's sleeping. I wonder if... He didn't. He didn't do any of these things. He knew it so well. He knew that there was nothing that it could not do. And so for not 1 second did he doubt. He spoke with total conviction that, of course, there's absolutely nothing that this love cannot do. There's nothing. There's nothing that it can't do. And because he spoke so with so much conviction and so much authority, and without an inkling or a mustard seed of doubt within him, then these miracles, these miraculous things happened instantly. Or perhaps maybe it would take a couple days, depending on the person's faith. But as long as they believed, like they were like, oh, maybe I don't necessarily believe I can be healed in this instant, but maybe I'll be healed within the next couple days. Well, then they would be, right? He was just showing their faith. And then there would be those who came and that didn't believe in the thing, and then they would leave, and then they weren't healed. Because it's all based on their faith. It wasn't what he was doing. It was the divine love in action. And based on the person's faith, were they healed. So, when you witness things in your life happening, just give yourself an example here. What is something in your life that you just knew something was going to happen, and you didn't doubt it? You were like, I know that this is going to happen, and you just knew something was going to happen. Like, I don't know what, that someone was going to buy you a coffee, that someone was going to honk at you in traffic, that maybe it was a positive thing, maybe it wasn't a positive thing. What was something that you just knew was going to happen, and then it did? Think about it for a second. Okay, this only happened because you believed that it would, because you had faith in it, because you put your faith in it. And then you were witness to it. So what happens when you put your faith in the love? And only in the love, and you don't put it in those things that have happened in the past. Because when you put it in the faith, in the things that happened in the past, well, like, I mean, this has happened to me how many times in my life, so it's, prone to happen again. I guess I'm just doomed for this to happen. This is a belief that you have that will play out exactly like you predict it to play. You are not predicting the future. I mean, you are, but you're actually creating it. I used to believe these things, and I'd be like, well, I just know that this is going to happen, and then it would happen. And it was like, okay, I had the knowing. But you know what I actually had? Was I had the belief, and I had put my faith in that thing, and so then that is what would play out. So this is what we're witness to in our lives over and over. When we believe that we're going to have a failed relationship, then we do, because we have put our faith in it. Wouldn't it be so much more wonderful if we put our faith in the love of the divine, and if we planted those seeds instead? Of course it would. So why don't we do this? Let's start doing this. What about your career? That you're like, oh, I want to get out of this thing. I want to start doing this thing, and I just don't know how to do it. And you got all kinds of feelings and beliefs that have played out, and you've been at whatever level that you've been at for however long, and so you have plateaued yourself. You've stuck yourself. I worked with a client one time, and this was for money blocks. And that year, I can't remember what she told me, but I think it was $20,000 more. She had been stuck at a specific amount for years. It was a good amount, but she was making the same amount of money. And so she had this subconscious belief that that was how much money that she made. And so then she worked with me, and we removed the blocks, and then I'm pretty sure it was 20 grand extra. It's probably in the testimonials on my page, that she made extra that year. And there was, how much left in the year? Really not that much time. But it's because she believed that she would make a certain amount previous, and so it kept playing out. It wasn't because of anything other than that. And so as soon as she changed the belief, as soon as she removed the limit that she had subconsciously placed on herself, well, then the limit was removed, and then she made so much more. Or sometimes we will limit ourselves in thinking like, well, the only way to get abundance or money is to work a 9 to 5. Well, my friend here in Sedona, he went on a trip to Europe, or Egypt, and he had been told to expect or look for blessings, financial blessings in other forms, unique forms, compared to what he was used to. And so he went into this one place, and he found an earring, like just in the middle of this touristy type place in a building, found an earring on the floor and picked it up and was like, oh, that's really pretty. Like, it was kind of damaged. It must have been there. Like the little prong thing on the back was bent over sideways. And was like, oh, cool. That's nice, but he's a dude. And he's like, what am I going to do with an earring? Anyways, and so then he was going to leave, and he sees this like shine from, somewhere else in the building. And then there was the match to that earring. And this is, nobody's claiming these things. This is in a touristy type random place. And so he knew that this was a blessing from the divine for him. And these were actual precious stones that were worth hundreds of dollars. And the reason that he was over there in the first place was because the divine told him to go. He's like, I don't know why, but I listen and I do what I'm told. And I was told I needed to go to these certain places. He went to Peru, and then he went over to Egypt, and all these places that he went. He had these, things happen while he was there, and had been told, look for abundance in other forms. Like, it will be gifted to you. You will find it. You will see it. And I think he had even been told that day. I'd have to ask him on that. And then he finds this. So we put these limits on ourselves and think, well, that happens to other people. Oh, that, it doesn't happen to me. Well, that's never happened to me before. Why would it happen now? We believe so many things. And when I say we believe them, I mean what you've actually done is put your faith in them. Put your faith in the belief that, these wonderful things don't happen to you, but they happen to other people. Put your faith in the fact that, no, you don't get these opportunities that other people get. put your faith in all kinds of detrimental and destructive things. And because you've put your faith in them, all you're getting, all that you're witness to in your life is the things that you have faith in. But here's the deal. Christians throughout centuries have believed, because they, believed the Bible, that the God that they worshipped is, kills their enemies, and is essentially a God of war. And so when they are praying, like the will of God be done, that is what's happening here on the planet, is the will of what their God is, the belief that they have in this supreme Godhead. And so that's what they're witness to, and that is what our world is witness to, because we're a collective. And so the earth, I wrote a book in 2018, and this was one of the parts that was in there. It was a channeled message. I actually didn't even want to put my name on this book, because it was like I didn't even write it. It just flowed through me. And the divine told me to write it, and told me, like, hey, come to me and, just write whatever I tell you, and then, stop, and then, come back and write some more. And so this is what I did. And one of the parts that is in there is talking about, oh great, now I've lost my train of thought. Great, it'll come back, so sorry about this. But when we have faith, and we truly have faith in something, we will be witness to that thing. So, this is what it is. So the collective, okay, so you feel a certain way, right? You're just feeling a certain way. Then, your friend or your spouse or, somebody comes home, or you go to work or whatever, you walk into a different environment and somebody's in a real bad mood. Okay, you then as a person, you have a choice. Are you going to allow yourself to sink into that bad mood, or are you going to hold your vibe? Or vice versa, however it happened to be. Like you as a human, you got a choice. However, the world, the collective, it doesn't work this way. The world goes with the majority. It goes with the collective. It just it doesn't have a choice. And because the collective has really liked these destructive things, meaning they've focused on them, they've believed in them, and they put their faith in them. Because of this, look at the condition of the world. So if we could shift our focus when we do, as we are, and this is what we're doing, creating an era of love and peace, and we just begin believing in the truth, which is that the divine love is the only thing that exists, and everything else is the mind. The mind introduces all of these other things. If we would stop believing in them, they would stop existing, because we would then be planting seeds of the truth, of the true divine love in the world, and then that is what we would actually be witness to. And then the world as a collective goes, all right, we're in heaven now. And it just shifts and it just changes just like that. Because it goes with the majority, just like the 100th monkey experiment, right? There's all these monkeys on this island, and one of them one day starts washing his sweet potato. He's like, look, I don't got to eat all the sand. So he's washing his sweet potato, and then, the next day he teaches another monkey. And then another monkey, and then another monkey. And then pretty soon, these scientists, the people who are observing them, are seeing like that this is quite a slow process of like 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. And then all of a sudden, one day they show up there and all the monkeys are washing the sweet potatoes, and they're like, dang, look, that just happened overnight. But the cool, amazing part is that actually these are Japanese snow monkeys, and that they were not all in the same area, that this is like a separate island, that there's all these other monkeys. And these other monkeys weren't washing their sweet potatoes. They weren't doing the thing. But the day that all these ones over here started washing them, so did those ones, even though they didn't have any contact with each other. So this is what I'm talking about, the collective shift. Once we get to that breaking point where we've broken through and we've put our faith in the love rather than in the hell, rather than in the old ways, rather than in those destructive things, and we've been planting the seeds of the love, then it flips, and then this is what we experience, heaven on earth. And we've seen this types of things in the world. In the past, that there's these, communities or these places, Atlantis or all these places that it's like, oh, they live these peaceful existences, or Tartaria, and they're living in this way, and It's because of the collective consciousness that was there. You know what it's like when you walk into a place and there's a vibe. There's, a vibe. Maybe it's not a good vibe. Maybe it's a great vibe. Whatever it is, but you can feel the energy in certain places. This is what I'm talking about. This is the collective energy. It's the consensus. And so when we, as the collective, as the ones who are shifting our world into an era of love and peace, so it don't matter if everybody went's on board, right? These Japanese snow monkeys over here, they didn't even know the thing was going on. Didn't matter. However, when these guys made the shift, everybody made the shift at the same time. So we don't need everybody. So if there's somebody who's resistant or they don't want to believe the truth, totally cool, man, doesn't matter, then they must not be part of it, but they eventually will be part of it. And they will get to reap the benefits of all the heaven that we've created. And it's just going to be the most wonderful thing. And we're going to want that. We're not going to be like, hey, dude, you didn't even do the work. You didn't know, because that's ego-based and that's not a thing. That won't be a thing anymore. Because for us to get to that, we will have already eradicated our egos completely, because we know that they've been helpful to us to a point, but they are just not helpful to us when we are here creating heaven on earth. That is for certain. So, speaking about faith, whatever you put your faith in, whatever you believe, meaning whatever thoughts you continually think, that's what you're believing. That's what you're putting your faith in. A belief is just a thought you continue to think. That's what it is. And so if you're thinking thoughts and they're harmful, or they're no good for you, then it's time to let them go, and to change, and to choose thoughts that are helpful and that are wonderful for you. So, little thing before we're done here, just ask yourself, what percent of heaven are you living in? What percent? What comes to mind? Okay, and so then whatever percent is not that, is not that. And so you could go into a meditation, you could even close your eyes if you're not driving, and you could ask yourself, well, what's one thing that I need to let go of here today? What's one belief that I have? What's one thought that I keep thinking that I need to let go of, that I need to eradicate because it is not helpful to me? And the divine will tell you. And then you can just work to eliminate that. You can check out the Mental Cleanse series. It can be extremely helpful in letting go of harsh emotions, or things that you think about yourself, like self-doubt. It can help you to build self-trust. It can help you to eradicate anger, sadness. There's like over 40 videos on there, so it's just on a playlist here on my channel. Anyways, I'm going to go here, but we have these Christ light circles. They are amazing, transformative. You can check out my other channel, Cosmic Christ Force. Me and my friend Alora host these Christ light circles that you can pop onto anytime. They are donation based. I will post a link there down below. We do them about 5 days a week. Might be slightly less here coming up because we got some extensive travel plans going on, but we would love to have you there. We would love to have you there, and you can check out what those are like on the Cosmic Christ Force YouTube channel. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.